Hey everyone, Shawn from Miles to Memories, and welcome to the channel. Welcome back to Primm, Nevada, just about 30 minutes from the Vegas Strip. Today we're going to check out the very historic Whiskey Pete's Casino, the Primm Valley Casino, and the amazingly dead mall attached to it. Let's get started. Look at that old school elevator. Let's go check it out. They don't really make hotels with elevators like this anymore, and the views are great. And a scenic elevator in a 4-story building isn't something that you see every day. They could wash the windows, I guess, but I was appreciative of the view. And right now this hotel is actually closed. The casino is open, but the hotel is closed. These rooms are really cool. I really like these nameplates on the doors, and I don't know what the rooms look like, although they were recently renovated in 2016, so they're probably fairly decent. But let's go check out the casino. Whiskey Pete's features 777 hotel rooms and was built in 1977 by Ernest J. Primm. The area that these casinos stands in is known now as Primm, Nevada, but until 1996 it was actually known as State Line, Nevada, and it was State Space Line was the name of the town. There was a similar town up north without the space in between State and Line, and they decided finally to rename the town after the founders, the Primm family. This is the Bonnie and Clyde death car. It has been here for a long time. It spent some time in Whiskey Pete's and then moved across the street to Primm Valley, and now it's back here. You can see the car and some historical displays and a movie that explains everything that goes on, along with Dutch Schultz 1931 Lincoln, also on display in this area of the casino. This is an area that I highly recommend checking out if you are in Primm or driving between Vegas and California, because it's just an interesting historical thing to see, and it doesn't take a lot of time to park, get out, check it out, and move along again back onto the road. Pool is closed. Let's see if we can get out there anyway. Very nice. Although, wow, this is a pretty cool looking pool. I was very impressed with this pool area and did not expect a pool this nice at Whiskey Pete's. Has that water slide and that rock work, plus the pool itself is very big and inviting, and I definitely think this has got to be popular with guests during the summer. The wind was blowing really hard, so some trash thrown around, but overall this area was much nicer than I would expect. What's also interesting is the monorail. The monorails out here are not running, and in the Buffalo Bills episode, you got to see what that monorail looks like on the other side. But this is a single car monorail. We'll head outside later to check it out. But as we walk through this casino, notice the theming and the mural behind the registration desk. The Old West theme persists here. And this was added in 2016 during the renovations. This is a memorial to Whiskey Pete himself, the man who started this area with a gas station in the 30s and made ends meet by making moonshine and selling it to travelers coming through. Good old Whiskey Pete. The monorail, as I said, is closed. we saw the exit into the casino. This is the outdoor section. It's actually parked across the street at Primm Valley. We will check that out a little bit later. Let's take a walk around, explore a bit, and then I'll be back with you. So they really don't want you using these doors to get back in. They've removed the handles, so you gotta go back to the main entrance. And the reason for that is because they are doing temperature checks and controlled entry to make sure people have masks. So you must go through the main entrance, despite the fact that I sort of snuck in through the hotel side when I went through that elevator and there were no checks there. But to get back inside, definitely temperature checks for everybody. A windy day out in the desert. Now we're heading out to the spot where the bridge over from Buffalo Bills is, where the train used to be. I covered this in our Buffalo Bills video, and I highly recommend watching that video to see what Buffalo Bills is. It's closed, and I walked all around the property. In this area, this is where the train used to run from Buffalo Bills to Whiskey Pete's. And when they were actually building this bridge and this area, they discovered Whiskey Pete's remains, and they exhumed them and they moved it to one of the caves where he used to make moonshine. So they put his body back to rest. But of course, this bridge and this area is now closed. That train that used to run from Buffalo Bills to Whiskey Pete's has not run in decades now. And the only remnants left are this bridge on this end, and on the other side, there's tons of tracks everywhere. Check out that Buffalo Bills video. Now we're across the street at Primm Valley, parked the Tesla, charging it so that when we are done, we'll have a full battery. And now let's head inside to Primm Valley. The first thing you'll notice is it's still very windy, but in the distance off to the right there was the monorail station. And we're gonna check out this single car monorail that runs from Whiskey Pete's to Primm Valley. And here it is, the single car monorail, nothing too fancy. This has been parked here for a while. I was here last summer on a Saturday when they had opened the amusement rides at Buffalo Bills and it was fairly busy. And even then they were not running these trams between Whiskey Pete's and Primm Valley and Buffalo Bills. So I don't know on what schedule they run them or when or if, but hopefully they reopen at some point. Let's walk around this beautiful atrium area of Primm Valley, then we'll head out to the pool. Just like with the Whiskey Pete's 4-story tower and the scenic elevator, this is a tiny, few-story tall atrium, but I love that they have it, and they have the glass elevators, and it's a really neat area. As is the pool area. Just like Whiskey Pete's, the pool here is surprisingly nice. I would say my vote would be for the Whiskey Pete's pool because of the water slide and sort of that location nestled in between everything, but you cannot argue with this pool area. A very beautiful area outside in Primm, Nevada, and it almost makes you forget that you are literally in the middle of the desert. Primm Valley opened in 1990 as the Prima Donna Resort and Casino. It was renamed in 1997 following a tragic incident with a little girl who was murdered here. One of the more interesting things about this hotel is that it used to feature a 100-foot tall Ferris wheel that has since been removed. And the theme around the property, as you might notice, is golf. They rethemed it when they built this massive championship golf course not far away, and they rethemed it to golf, and that is the theme that continues to this day. Zoltar doesn't want my money. He's not on. Oh, that's a shame. Let's go check out the main part of the mall. It's not Vegas unless one of the escalators is broken. In 1998, they added the Fashion Outlets, an outlet mall essentially attached to Primm Valley, but not owned by them. And this mall has had an interesting history. It did well for quite a while, although fell into financial hardship, as so many malls have. And as recently as 2018, it was foreclosed and renamed the Primm Outlets. And they spent about $2 million renovating it and modernizing it and installing tons of artwork, as you'll see. But unfortunately, this mall is very, very dead. Hey, Arthur. A staple of every mall when I was growing up. What's your favorite flavor? Let me know in the comments which one you would get. Green apple looks good. I'm usually a watermelon guy myself. There is half the mall that has some shops, and then the other half completely empty, and not a ton going on here, but a very, very interesting place to see with all of this artwork. Let's walk around a little bit, and then I'll catch you in the back near the food court. This left wing of the mall features tons of great artwork and not a single open store. We did see a store or two open when we first came down those escalators into that main little lobby area, but this wing of the mall is completely shuttered until you reach Rack Room Shoes, which we will in just a minute. But definitely appreciate this artwork, and I think it makes it one of the more interesting quote-unquote dead malls in the country. Come out here and buy some shoes, support these people. Primm Outlets opened as Fashion Outlets July 16th, 1998, and cost $75 million to build and featured over 100 stores when it opened. It has 371,000 square feet of retail space, most of which sits empty today, unfortunately. All right, there may not be a lot of places to shop here, but this mall is worth coming to just for this artwork. Wow. How many of you have walked through dead malls or dying malls with so many empty shops? And at least here, they made it into something cool, even if there isn't anybody here. There are definitely interesting pieces of art here. As you can see, these legs. Later on, I'll point out some lampposts and all of the art that is there. We saw that flamingo fountain, which I really enjoyed, and it's too bad it's shut off. Thankfully, there's another fountain around that's turned on as well. Here is the other side of the mall. More artwork, more closed stores. Although here you can start to see into the stores a little bit more. They've set up displays. They haven't frosted the glass as much like here. And you can see this storefront is being used. It's not part of Williams-Sonoma, as far as I know, but they're using that as a display for Williams-Sonoma. And I do believe this side has a lot more open stores. So I'm looking forward to seeing just what we can find. Tommy Bahama, still going strong. Tommy Hilfiger. So the Tommies are represented here. We have Bath and Body Works and Calvin Klein. So this side's definitely busier. I think we're up to what, 6 or 7 stores, but there's definitely still a lot of empty storefronts too. Back through another stretch here of artwork and empty storefronts. But I always loved the touches of this mall, especially for being an outlet mall. I mean, look at these light posts, these lamp posts that you see. What a nice little touch. And then, of course, the artwork is trying to make this place just a little bit better than it is. I know I've said it 100 times now, but I do enjoy this artwork and I enjoy walking around that mall. And if you're out in Vegas, check it out. There are some good deals at some of the outlets that are left in there. And more importantly, the art is really cool and it's unique, not something you're going to see everywhere. We're back in the Primm Valley Casino. I think these are offices off to the left behind this building facade, and I thought that was an interesting thing in this casino. I was surprised about how busy the casinos were. This was a weekday in the middle of the day, and there were a surprising number of people there, considering this is sort of a second-tier tourist destination and how slow things are in Vegas. But it was good to see, and I'm happy to see it. One other very interesting thing about this mall is that the artwork is on the outside. So you can definitely check out some of the fine art on the outside. And you can also buy a lottery ticket. This part of Primm is over the California state line. And what does that mean? It means lotto time. There was definitely a long line of people waiting to buy their lotto tickets on this day. It wrapped all around the building. We'll take a reverse angle of the building here in a second. And I tried to stay far away so that people weren't upset about me filming them waiting in line to get their lotto tickets. Now let's take a look at some more interesting things on the outside. And this is the back side of the mall. This backs right up to the desert, but they even painted areas of this. There's definitely a lot more white paint, but there are some art installations as we drive around here and get a great look at what this mall looks like on the outside. And this is the backside of the hotel. This sort of reminds me of some Disney-like hotels in Walt Disney World for some reason. And I do like the architecture. This building is the backside of the apartment buildings built for cast members or workers out here in Primm. You can see where they used to live, or the remnants of where they used to live, over in our Buffalo Bills video. Now we're going to close out with this look at the Buffalo Bills monorail. This is part of Primm Valley. It is currently closed, and if you're trying to reach it from the casino, they have the doors to it closed, but you can access it from the parking lot like I'm doing here. And I covered it a lot more in the Buffalo Bills video. Definitely check that out. I think Buffalo Bills is something you're going to want to see if you haven't seen that yet. But hopefully you got to see some sides of Primm that you didn't know existed, and some things out there that you enjoyed seeing. Head out there on your next trip to Vegas, only about 30 minutes from the Vegas Strip, and on your way from Cali to Vegas too. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.